Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you for joining me. This is live number 2. This content is pertaining to Shanquella Robinson. She was on a trip with some alleged people who were supposed to be her friends in Mexico. She came back deceased. The information I'm going to play is pertaining to an interview with her mother and Nancy Grace. The rest of the commentary will be pertaining to reporters trying to find the Co-Conspirators killers who are involved in this case and were on that said fateful trip down in Mexico. Thank you all so much for joining me. Please enjoy the content. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so very much.
Nancy Grace. Do you have a little girl? Because I do. I've got a little girl and a little boy. Not so little anymore. And I gotta tell you, the time, the energy, the love, the worry, the money, the everything you pour into them to help them advance just one more step in life. I just want you to imagine this. I can hardly even say this with my daughter in my mind. You get your beautiful, wonderful girl through high school. She's fabulous. You get her to college. She's on the verge of graduating. So proud. She goes on a little girls' getaway, girls' weekend. Then you get a call that she's dead. Just let that soak in just for a moment. You get a call, your baby is dead. Because that is what happened to Miss Robinson, Miss Almondra Robinson. Her beautiful girl, the world in front of her, on the verge of graduating Winston-Salem State in business, goes away for a girl's getaway. And now she's dead. Not at the hands of some masked intruder, not a drive-by shooting, on a girl's getaway with her friends. How can she be dead in a hotel room? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Fox Nation and Sirius XM 111 with me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. But I want you to hear her mother, who is with us right now, as she was speaking to CBS.
I received a call on Saturday saying that my daughter was sick and that she had alcohol poison. But a doctor had never arrived, so I don't know where he got the alcohol poison from. So at that time, they said a doctor was on the way to examine her, and she wasn't responding as they told me. Said she was resting a little bit, that she wasn't all the way responding as normal. I told them to keep me informed, and I wanted to know why they couldn't take her to the emergency room. They said because they needed $5,000 cash to be seen in the emergency room. And I said, well, she has insurance. And they said they didn't take insurance by being out the country.
I mean, this girl actually worked in the insurance field. Everything that I just heard is a lie. Everything that this mother was told about the death of her baby girl is a lie. Assume nothing. When you go into an investigation, you believe nobody and no thing that you hear. How in the HELL is this girl resting as opposed to being taken down to the emergency room? To HELL with the price. She is dead. She is dead and was never taken to the ER. And I don't buy for 1 minute that this girl, this beautiful, young, 25-year-old girl, was resting. That's total BS. Now, listen to this.
I told them just keep me informed, and they did call back, but they still saying it was alcohol poison. So, but later on that evening, they called and said that Shanquella had passed. And at that point, it just took my heart, crumbled up, just knowing my child was gone, and I couldn't get there to her, could not do anything. And they said the medics came, 3 medics came, and no one couldn't do anything, couldn't save her.
I'm so mad right now I could chew a nail in half. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of the facts as we know them right now, keeping in mind that everything we're learning right now is a lie. I want to go to her mother. I want to go to Shanquella's mother. With me, Mrs. Salamandra Robinson. Miss Robinson, I cannot tell you how sorry I am for what you and your family are going through. When I leave the children at school in the morning and I see that phone ring, I'm already in the car on the way because I know something's wrong. And I cannot imagine how you felt when you get a call that something is wrong with your girl and she's resting and she can't come to the phone to talk to you? Oh, hell no. What happened? Just take it from the top, if you don't mind, Miss Robinson.
Well, like I said, they was saying that she was resting and she wasn't really responding. That's why they called the ambulance. And when the ambulance got there, they said the ambulance was working on her. And as I got from reports saying that the ambulance was working on her for 2 to 3 hours, but no one ever decided to take her to the hospital.
Now, here's another thing. How can you be resting and unresponsive? Like when did they try to get her to talk to you on the phone? Well, start at the beginning. When you get the call, where are you?
When I got the call, I was out eating.
Okay, so you were in North Carolina?
Yes.
So North Carolina time, it was 7 o'clock at night?
It would have been about 6 or 7.
Okay, so she is in San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, so that I think would have been 3 hours behind. Like they're on California time, correct?
Yes.
So 4 p.m. their time, 7 p.m. ish your time. You get a call, and who called you?
Kalia Cook.
Who's that?
That's what been her best friend.
Did you say Salea Cook?
No, Kalia Cook.
Oh, the man.
Yes.
And he was a friend of hers. He had gone on family vacations. You knew him, right?
Yes.
Okay. Were they romantically involved?
No.
Okay. Just a friend. Look, it happens. A lot of people can't believe that can happen. I've had a best friend since law school, a best friend man, study partners the whole way through. So it does happen. So Kalia Cook is her friend, and he calls you, correct?
Yes.
And he says what to you?
That Shanquella wasn't feeling good. He thinks she had drunk too much. She had alcohol poison. And I said, what is alcohol poison? Because I didn't even know what alcohol poison was.
Okay, with me, someone that can answer that question very well, Dr. Kendall Crowns, Chief Medical Examiner, Fort Worth, lecturer at University of Texas and Texas A&M, faculty, University of Texas Medical Branch. Dr. Crowns, what is alcohol poisoning?
Alcohol poisoning is when you get so much alcohol in your system that it actually is fatal to your body. Alcohol can be toxic to your heart and also your liver. So when you have a really, really high level of alcohol, it can cause basically poisoning of these organ systems. So it's usually seen in someone who has been binge drinking, and the standard alcohol level is legal limit is about 0.08 in most jurisdictions. And once you get into a 0.3, 0.4 area, most people will have so much alcohol on board that it will kill them. And that is a lot of alcohol.
Okay, so, hold on. I'm trying to reconcile what you're saying with what Miss Robinson was told. Take a listen to our friend Victor Canado.
On October 29th, one of the guests staying at the resort called for help around 2 p.m. Upon arriving, medical professionals were informed that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol. A doctor reportedly said she was stable but dehydrated, suggesting she may be treated at a hospital. The guests insisting she remain at the villa. A police report stating Robinson went into cardiac arrest and was declared deceased around 6 p.m.
There you go. That's why she didn't go to the hospital. Did you hear that? The guests, her girlfriends, insisted she stay there at the hotel. That's why she wasn't taken to the hospital. Now, wait a minute. She went into cardiac arrest, according to what we just heard. But none of this is fitting together. Take a listen to our friends at ABC.
But those reports differing from an autopsy obtained by ABC News stating that medical professionals arrived at the villa around 3 p.m. and declared her dead within 15 minutes, citing that Robinson died from a severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck.
For this to happen to her is just terrible. You know, I just couldn't believe it. It's like I'm still asleep, like a night.
The reports from the friend girls are completely different from the autopsy. Did you hear that? To you, Mrs. Robinson, according to the documents from the EMTs, she was declared dead 15 minutes after they got there. They did not get there and work on her for 3 hours like you were told.
Yeah.
She was declared dead within 15 minutes of the EMTs getting there, and the friends did not want her removed to the hospital. Do you understand that to be true now?
I understand that, what was being said. You know, I don't know which way to believe. You know, I believe the autopsy, but the so-called friend, I just don't know what to say about them. I just think it was just terrible the way they done her, you know.
All of this from alcohol poisoning, but yet the autopsy does not say anything about alcohol poisoning leading to her death. It says, Dr. Kendall Crowns, she died of a spinal cord injury. What's that?
Spinal cord injury is basically your cervical spine. Is you get injuries to your cervical spine from severe rotation or blunt trauma that results in your head being moved suddenly to one side or another, and that causes fracturing of the cervical bones that then result in damage of the spinal cord that ultimately results in your death, or potentially quadriplegia, meaning you can't move anything below the neck down.
Doctor, I was having a hard time taking in what you were saying. I got it because I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye a video that has emerged. And it is a video of this beautiful young girl, Shanquella Robinson. She's 25. She's naked. She's by her bed. It looks like she's just gotten up out of bed. And a woman is beating her dead. I'm looking at it right now. Now, I don't know all the circumstances, but I know another person, and I just saw a female hand come up in front of the video cam. There's somebody recording this brutal attack, and they beat her until she's down, and she's just sitting there, like completely out of it from the beating, like a rag doll. And then once she sits down, this attacker then beats her in the head, and her head is just catapulted over to one side. Could that be what happened to Shanquella, Dr. Crowns?
Yes. So in the video, you can see there's the initial where the one female is hitting Shanquella multiple times in her head. But at some point, she grabs her with her arm and then twists her head and body in a kind of a rotational motion, and then Shanquella is dropped to the ground, and she continues to hit her in the head and neck area. But if you, in the video, you notice that Shanquella back initially until...
I disagree completely. She's shielding herself. She is not landing punches at all. I'm looking right at it.
She also said no.
Yes, you're right.
Correct.
She never even had a chance to fight back.
Misstatement there. She is not fighting back. She is defending herself from the beating.
Like trying to hold her attacker back. She never gets a chance to defend herself. Mrs. Robinson, does she sleep without her clothes on?
Yes, she do.
So she was woken up out of her bed with one woman standing there videoing and the other woman hitting her like she's Muhammad Ali. And then the attacker, after she has beaten her, this defenseless naked girl who has just been woken up to a beating, she steps back and bows back like she's about to put her hands over her head like she's a champion. What is that, Dr. Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst out of Beverly Hills? What is that behavior? She's crowing and preening for the video.
Nancy, this was, it would be a mistake to think this is just one woman killing this poor 25-year-old.
Who should I believe? You and my lying eyes. I'm looking right at it.
No, but I mean, when I say a mob attack, maybe there was one attacker, but this was group aggression towards Shanquella. Group aggression, because people are standing by, one person's videotaping, you can hear a voice of someone saying, oh, fight back, Quilla. As if this was, like you said, Muhammad Ali, they're really minimizing the fact that this poor girl is being killed. I mean, this is a homicide, obviously, but what was this group aggression towards her that we're witnessing? Were they envious of her? Did she have a better life than them? I mean, this is how I think as a psychoanalyst is beyond the brutality of this murder.
And who in the hay is videoing her? Miss Robinson, do you know these women? Who are they?
I don't know the ones that's videoing her. I just know the one that was standing there beside Khalil Cook. And the other one, I didn't know him, the one that's saying fight back. I didn't know him.
Okay, hold on. Who is the person hitting her?
That's the DH girl. And I didn't know her. I just know they went to college together.
I've got Dejani Jackson. How are you saying it?
I think I don't know how to pronounce her name.
I've got Dejani. That could be, it's a crazy spelling. I don't know what it is. It looks like Dejani or Dejanay.
Nancy, a mess.
Yeah,
That's it. It's Dejanay because it's got A-E on the end. You're right. Dejanay Jackson. Then you've got Winter Donovan. It's spelled W-E-N-T-E-R. Is that another female?
Yes.
Then you've got Khalil Cook, the friend boy, the man.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's those three and your daughter, Quella, correct?
Yes.
Guys, this is taking place at a very upscale resort in Mexico. And you can look out the window of their Quella's suite. It's beautiful. You look right out on the beach and the ocean, palm trees, sand. I mean, this is about less than 30 minutes from where you see Jennifer Aniston and all of her celebrity friends lounging and having a great time at Cabo San Lucas. That's what we're talking about. This is San Jose del Cabo. To you, Alexis Tereszek, joining me, investigative reporter with Crime Online. Alexis, thank you for being with us. Where is this place?
This place is still on the coast at the very bottom of the peninsula. It is about 30 minutes northeast of Cabo San Lucas, but it is still right on the beach. And this place where they were staying was a private beach club. They had access to a private beach, very exclusive. Behind a gate, you had to have security to get in. This is not a shack on the beach at all. It is a very, very fancy place that they were all staying.
I mean, it looks really nice from what I'm seeing. And that just goes to show Robert Crispin. Robert joining me, private investigator, former federal task force officer with the U.S. Department of Justice, DEA, now private investigator at CrispinInvestigations.com. Robert, this goes to show you can be living in or staying in a five-star resort and crime will find you, and it's very often those that know you the best.
Well, the sad part about it is everyone gives the warnings about going to Mexico. Something's going to happen to our kids when they go down there. But how do you fight against the people that you went there with when they're inside your room?
I want Gary Davidson to jump in. He is a partner with Diaz Royce International Law Firm at DiazReus.com. This happens in Mexico at this luxurious resort. Gary Davidson, I want you to hear our friend Erica Jackson at WSOC.
They all came to my house on Tuesday and explained what had happened.
Salamandra says Shanquella's friends blamed her death on alcohol. Then the Robinson family received a copy of her death certificate. It shows she died 15 minutes after injuring her neck and spinal cord. The report also states Shanquella was found unconscious in the living room, and her death is believed to be violent or accidental.
Violent or accidental? And then this video emerges. How can anybody say this is accidental? I mean, to you, Dr. Kendall Krause, Chief Medical Examiner, the Examiner Tarrant County, this is no accident. You see the beating. Now we know that she was dead 15 minutes after injuring her neck and spinal cord. Why? Why are you dead 15 minutes after the injury?
So usually with these type of spinal cord injuries, with what she has is an atlas luxation, which means a dislocation of the first cervical vertebrae.
Do you mind saying that one more time? An atlas what?
It's an atlas luxation is what the cause of death is listed as. And what that is cervical vertebrae number one. The one right underneath your skull is the atlas. And it slid out of place and then pushed on her spinal cord. And then usually what happens is it bruises the spinal cord, but the spinal cord bruises take a little time to set in before they kill you. So that's why you can see a survival time period of about 15 minutes. But in the video, after she is whipped about her head and dropped to the ground, to me, it doesn't look like she has any more purposeful movement, even though the other individual continues to pound on her. It's that movement there is what killed her.
I need you to speak so we can all understand you, Dr. Kendall Krause, not in your elocution, but describing this. So you're saying atlas luxation is the cause of death, but you're referring to one particular spot just under the head. When that particular spot is dislocated or kicked out of the line of the spine, I'm extrapolating, are you saying the head is then no longer attached, the brain is no longer attached to, for instance, the heart and the other parts of your body that keep you alive?
Right. That's the area of the brainstem is where the cervical vertebrae number one or the atlas is sitting, and that is causing damage to the brainstem, which controls your heart rate, your respiratory rate, all the functions of your body. So it isn't necessarily completely separated, but it's bruised and damaged to the point that the individual dies. And that's why she has a survival time period, because it's damaged, not completely torn.
Well, of course, Gary Davidson is a high-profile lawyer that specializes in international law. Gary, the family knew in the first instant of alcohol poisoning. Gary Davidson, take a listen to our friend Joe Bruno.
Shanquella Robinson's friends told her parents that she died from alcohol poisoning. That theory never sat right with her father, and he just, quite frankly, didn't buy it.
I know it wasn't no alcohol poisoning. I know it wasn't.
Shanquella's death certificate never mentions alcohol poisoning. It lists the cause of death as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. It says she died within 15 minutes of injury. In the box asking if the death was accidental or violent, the medical examiner wrote yes.
So, Gary Davidson, one quick round to Dr. Kendall Krause. Dr. Kendall Krause, I would like a yes-no answer to these. The autopsy said, did it not, that this atlas luxation was the cause of death, the COD? Yes, no?
Yes.
Isn't it true that in autopsies that tissue samples are taken and blood alcohol and toxicology panels are run? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And isn't it also true, Dr. Kendall Krause, that those samples would have shown if Quilla died of alcohol poisoning and also the toxicity in her body, her blood alcohol, correct?
Correct.
But it didn't mention that, did it, Dr. Crowns?
Not that I've seen.
It did not. So Gary Davidson, that leads me to this. Not only do they beat the woman, stand by and video this girl getting killed, they then lie about her cause of death to her mother. They lied about it. Now, is lying a felony? No, it is not. But doesn't it suggest to you, Gary, that they lied for a nefarious reason, and that reason being to cover up their involvement in her death?
Yes, absolutely. It very much appears that the stories being told to the family from the very get-go were not true. And it does raise the question of whether this was a pre-planned attack, whether it was organized not only by the person who committed it physically, but those around the room. And it's a sad day for the family, but it's also going to be a very, very sad day for these people because they are going to be implicated. They are going to be at minimum be witnesses in a potential criminal trial.
You got that right, Davidson. They're not just witnesses. And what you said really hits the nail on the head, Gary Davidson. Now I know why you're a high-profile lawyer specializing in international law. This was pre-planned.
Nancy, can I speak to that? Because I agree.
I mean, the woman is asleep in bed, and they come in with a video camera with Muhammad Ali over there in the corner ready to fight. They have this thing planned. They don't have to come over from North Carolina to San Jose del Cabo. If they planned it in the living room and went in there, this is a premeditated attack, just the way Gary Davidson is describing it.
I agree it's premeditated. And Nancy, what's going to be interesting is to look at their texts that they sent each other, emails, other forms of electronic communication as they were planning this trip, as they were on the plane, as they were arriving at this resort. You know, you can premeditate something at an unconscious as well as a conscious level.
Okay, Dr. Bethany, you know I admire you greatly, but I'm talking about evidence that can come into court. What they were thinking about in the bathroom on the plane does not matter to me. What matters to me is what I can prove. But you're exactly right. I would look at every single text, email, communication between these people to find out if they wanted to gang up on her from the get-go when they all left to go to Mexico. And that's where you come in, Robert Crispin, about how we're going to get a hold.
And Nancy, the video?
Yes?
The video is another form of aggression. It didn't start just before the trip or on the plane or in their electronic communication. Someone videotaped that and then put it on the internet. You know why they put it on the internet? They wanted to further humiliate Quilla.
Showing her without her clothes on being attacked. I want you to hear in our Cut 10, our friends at WSOC, our Cut 10. Please, Jackie.
Salamandra says she came across this video. Salamandra identified the people in the video as Shanquella and her Cabo travel partners. You can hear someone in the video ask if Quilla could at least fight back.
There was no fight. They attacked her. It was never a fight. She didn't fight. They attacked her.
Now, Salamandra says she has more questions than answers. She wants justice for her daughter.
She was a good child and had a great heart.
I keep looking at this video and imagining my little girl being attacked and beaten dead like that. Where did you find this video, Miss Robinson?
Online. Someone sent the video to us online.
Someone sent it to you?
Yes. When the video probably was, I believe the video was out before Shanquella actually had died, because someone called me and told me before they even arrived back to Charlotte from North Carolina that they was over there fighting her, so I didn't know how true it was. So after she got back, after they got back, Shanquella had passed, the video had surfaced on Facebook, and someone sent it to my family. It started coming out. The video started coming out.
That is a really big deal. Alexis Teresa joining me, crimeonline.com investigative reporter. Alexis, is that correct? And I'm going to follow up with you, Crispin, about how I can prove it's correct. I can't just blurt it out it's correct without knowing. Alexis, is it possible these girlfriends post the video of Quella completely naked being beaten to her death in the bedroom before she's even pronounced dead?
Yes, and that's what the timestamps and the information that has shown up on different websites where the video has been seen shows that it was almost like it was not a live broadcast, but really in real time happening. It didn't show up weeks later. It showed up almost immediately.
How can I prove that, Robert Crispin?
So this is one of the reasons that the FBI is involved now, because they have a unit called the extraterritorial unit for crimes when you get a request from foreign governments to help them investigate cases
Yes.
for crimes against U.S. citizens, which I'm sure you're very well aware of that. How we're going to prove this? Social media, it's all digital. And through subpoenas, we're going to get IP addresses. We're going to get who owns the phone that sent that. We're going to get the accounts. We're going to get everything. It's just going to slowly start to unwind on one, who owned the phone that shot that video, who posted that. And this case with that video is just probably the most key piece of evidence that any investigator wishes they had on so many other crimes. Is people just don't think. And social media has cleared so many crimes because people don't think and they want to brag about
Can
these
you
fights.
believe that they were putting this up online? Gary Davidson, high-profile lawyer, joining us from his law firm, partner with Diaz Royce International Law. I'm going to get to you in just a second about extradition, but I want to talk to you about the phenomena of posting your crime online. What kind of a sick killer would do that? They're proud of it. They're posting it.
It's a badge of honor.
Well, they can tell that to Satan, because I'm pretty sure that's where they're headed. Guys, not only that, the lying. Gary Davidson, haven't you seen in trial? You got the crime, but then you have the cover-up. And the cover-up can prove the crime. And the cover-up will infuriate a jury. Agree or disagree?
Agreed, and I also think it's likely in a case such as this where you have so many people who are present that at least one of them is going to come forward under direct questioning from investigators and gain immunity from prosecution and testify as to what truly did happen. The real mystery, I think, in all of this at the moment is what was the motivation for this attack?
Now, you know the state does not have to prove motive, right?
True.
It's a bunch of mean girls turned 25 going on some kind of a vendetta.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, it'll be a cold day in hell before I go on a girls' weekend. Go ahead, Gary.
But at the end of the day, I do believe the truth is going to come out in this case well before there's ever a trial. And there may very well be a trial of all of the people who were present.
Oh, no, they all need to go to trial. I don't need them as witnesses when I've got this video. And don't you know, Gary Davidson, if they're stupid enough to post the video, then they have been exchanging emails and texts and snaps all this time. I cannot wait to get my hands on all their communications post-murder. Miss Robinson with me is Quella's mom, Salamandra Robinson, who is summoning up the strength to talk about this. She is deep in mourning. And when we first started talking off camera, she said it made her sick to her stomach. When I look at this video, I thought I was going to get sick to my stomach just watching it, much less it being her little girl. I understand that you Zoomed with her on Friday, the day before she was killed, and she was having a good time the day before, right? Did she discuss any tensions with the other women?
No, I talked with Shanquella and I watched her Instagram. She spoke and she seemed to be very happy. Sounded like Shanquella normally sounds. And, like I said, I told her, enjoy yourself. She said she's getting ready to eat. She was cooking some tacos. I said, well, enjoy yourself. I will talk to you tomorrow and love you. And I know spoke with her again.
And what about the people standing by and watching? Take a listen to our cut 11. This is our friend Matt Rivers at GMA.
We got our first day, buddy. A new video surfacing showing Shanquella resting in a hammock at some point before the trip turned deadly. Buddy.
I heard some stuff, a dead body. And, that just made me wonder, that was their plan all the time.
This on the heels of the now viral video, Too Violent to Show, of a female roommate appearing to assault Shanquella.
They just stood there and watched and didn't even try to stop it or break it up. She wasn't even fighting back. They attacked her.
And what about these so-called friends, since they've all come home from Mexico? Take a listen to our cut 17, Anne-Marie Green, Dana Jacobson, CBS.
Shanquella was sweet, very kind. She had a heart of gold. She loved everybody. She didn't mistreat nobody. Never, no one could possibly ever say anything bad about her because she was a good person.
Was she close friends with the people that she went on this trip with?
Well, all I know is that she went to college with them. And one of the guys supposed to have been her best friend. And he had went on family trips with us, and he'd been to the family house. We've all been on trips together, just good time. And I never thought that he could be that low to do my child like that.
Have you heard from him since all of this happened?
Yeah, he came to the house 4 days in a row until he found out we knew what the autopsy said.
And you haven't seen him since?
Haven't seen him since.
So let me understand this, Mrs. Robinson. The friend, Kalia Cook, comes to your house several times after they get home from their vacation. But as soon as the true cause of death comes out, this dislocation, the atlas luxation of the spinal cord, then he suddenly quits showing up. And I bet you haven't heard from any of them ever since you learned the true cause of death, right?
Yes, true.
Because they're all lying.
Yes.
And they know that you know. What I don't understand is why the case is not moving forward. What's going on with the Mexican authorities? Take a listen to our cut 14, our friends at WSOC.
Investigators in Mexico now say they believe that Robinson was killed. It's significant because her parents said that they were originally told that she died of alcohol poisoning.
So if they know she was killed, she was murdered, what's the holdup, Gary Davidson?
The holdup is extradition. Extradition is a process where individuals are summoned through official channels between governments to return to the place where they are alleged to have committed a crime. And in this case, the Mexican government is seeking extradition of the individual who is accused of actually undertaking the attack on the victim, so there's a process, a court process that has to be followed by the United States government, and ultimately there is a treaty between the United States and Mexico.
Gary, I've done extraditions. It's really easy. It's not a long process. We in the U.S. have to arrest these POCs, these so-called friends on a girl's getaway. We got to arrest them. We take them to court. And there's just a couple of questions. You get their fingerprint and you say, are you Gary Davidson? And if the person says yes, it's all over. Because you have a signed governor's warrant from Mexico. And all you need to do, you don't have to establish guilt or innocence. All they have to do is establish, are you Gary Davidson? And if you tell me no under oath, I compare your fingerprints, I see that it's you, and bye-bye. You got a chain on your hands, and you're on the way to Mexico. That's all there is. It's not a fact-finding investigation in court. It's very simply, are you Gary Davidson? That's all I want to know. That's all an extradition is. Then you send the person to the venue, the jurisdiction, to be tried. Isn't that right?
In most instances, that is correct. Of course, we're assuming that the U.S. government has been able to locate the individual that they're seeking, which is not something you can always assume.
Gary, they're all over Facebook. How hard can it be?
One would think by now it would have been accomplished, but I'm not behind the scenes, so I can't answer beyond that.
Miss Robinson, he's right. Gary Davidson is correct. Miss Robinson, what are they telling you?
Well, they're not telling me anything. They're not even telling me whose name is on the arrest warrants that they have. But we know there's a one out there, and we're hoping that they relocate them real soon. We haven't heard any more.
Do you know where these girls are?
No, I have no idea.
Well, they went to college with her. They could afford a Mexican vacation. They had to have a passport. We've got to know where they live.
They stopped the passport. They know where each one of them live. All of them is somewhere hiding. None of them is at the address that's on their passport. None of them there.
I'll tell you what. I can't wait for a jury to hear about how they hid under the bed at Mommy's house while police are trying to find them more evidence of guilt. Tip line 888-407-4747. Repeat 888-407-4747. At this point, Gary Davidson, wouldn't you say it's on the U.S. Marshal in the jurisdiction of North Carolina to find them?
Yes, indeed, and they have resources, obviously, to bring to bear with the FBI if, in fact, these individuals have fled from North Carolina. They will be caught. They don't sound like the type of people who have unlimited funds.
They're not criminal masterminds either, Gary.
Right.
They're the ones that posted the video.
Right.
So, okay, you heard Gary Davidson. U.S. Marshals, it's time for you to do what you do best and bring these people to extradition to Mexico, where they can rot in a Mexican jail cell. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. That's Nancy. Woo! Mercy me. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this commentary. Nancy Grace Crime Stories. It's the sources information 104 viewing. I'm going to chop up my information pertaining to this. She takes a trip with her friends. Does not turn out to be an eventful trip. Was this pre-planned from North Carolina or over there on the trip? At what point did the trip turn sour? Was something said? Did she joke, say something out of the way to these people, and they just decided to turn on her? Why film it? Why go live? They had to have gone live for this to get out before the mother saw it. I don't know if they left the state. If so, they're still stupid. They'll get caught. Was this a pre-planned event against Miss Shanquella Robinson? You hear the mother start off at the beginning of this commentary, Nancy Grace, that she had insurance and that somebody told her they would need $5,000 to pay these people to aid her medically. Was that a ploy to extort money from the mother? No ER visits. So we're believing this went on for about 3 hours, concocting some type of version story of what happened to her. Allegedly, she was resting in bed. Don't know what's the truth to all this. Naked. Perhaps she sleeps naked. And they came in there filming, and then you have the Dejanay girl confronting her in this room. You can see it's a bedroom. They tell the mother later, alcohol poisoning. Later that evening after she's died. She wasn't responding. Couldn't come to the phone. Very strange information. Three medics came to the villa. If I'm to believe that, allegedly. Have to say allegedly because we don't know what's the truth. We don't know to believe the medical professional. We don't know if that's a real doctor or not. you can't say because you're not there to talk to the people. So I don't know what to believe. Did they actually call somebody to come in there and help initially? What is the actual time that the altercation started? Resting but unresponsive is what was told to the mother by one of the friends. The mother was out eating when the call came in about 6 or 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time out of North Carolina. They're about 3 hours behind Mexico. Cook, I believe, is the first one to call to say that she drank too much alcohol poisoning. You hear professionals say 0.8 is the legal limit for alcohol drunkenness. This other 0.3 is enough to kill you. Dead by 6 p.m. Allegedly, this start of a medical professional started at 2. Allegedly, they said she died of a cardiac arrest, but an autopsy says she died from a spinal cord injury. Would have been 15 minutes after the injury. So that means they were playing around with a dead person in a villa. That is the most disturbing part, besides the actual setup, filming, and beating of the woman, watching her, moving her. You played around and watched a dead person lie around and move the dead body. And you also hear commentary about moving the person can make the injury worse, depending on the severity of the injury. Spinal cord injury is what she allegedly died from. Also, blunt trauma to the head can cause this injury. And once again, as I said, moving the body. Then the body becomes paralyzed, you become a quadriplegic below the chest. Very sad information. Allegedly, a Winter Donovan, who appears to be biracial, was on this trip. A Khalil Cook, Elise Hyatt, and the infamous Dejanay Jackson, who we see in the video hitting her numerous times, and a Malik Dyer, who's allegedly supposed to be a friend as well. How many people are actually on the trip with the victim? How many people watched the actual beat up, beat down? How many people partook in hitting her? Very sickening. As Nancy says, it looks like she got out of bed. Somebody is seen recording her hand go before the camera. She's down on the ground, still being hit in the head after being on the ground, saying no, but head twisted, still being hit. Maybe that was the final act that led to the death, being on the ground, still being hit, and the twisting of a neck by this Dejanay with her arm. She was not trying to fight back. Why not? Why didn't she try to fight back? Was this a setup to fight this woman, to humiliate her? Film it live. Show them we got her finally. She thinks she's hot shit. Because that's probably what this is all about. Jealousy and envy-heartedness. Why did they film it? Why were they watching? You hear the commentary from the psychoanalyst that this was envy, group hate, jealous of her lifestyle, and filming it pushes the rage and show you their feelings for the victim. Allegedly, Dejanay attended college with Shan, is what the mother is saying, but she doesn't know her. People are warned about going to Mexico, the guest says, one of the male guests. So how do you fight against your own friends who are on the trip with you? Very good question. Allegedly, she was unconscious in the living room, but she had to have been moved because the fight started in the bedroom. We've all seen that in the video. So that means they moved a dead woman. Did not think about posting it. Also mentioned. Made the mother sick to her stomach once she watched the video. She last talked to the daughter. She was having a good time. Didn't sound upset or stressed. Was about to make tacos. So what happened? From the time she talked to her mother till the time she died. I'm assuming it might have been the next day. I'm not sure. People standing by, once again, watching a dead body. You hear Nancy mentioning about the guy approaching her in a hammock saying, dead body, dead body. Was this more of an inference that she was asleep in a hammock? So it's kind of like a joke. I don't know, because I don't know these people. I know they're evil. But just saying, was it a lighthearted joke at first when she was outside in the hammock? And it's kind of like saying, dead body down, one person asleep already. Or was it a slick comment of what was yet to come? I don't know. So I don't know their street lingo. How long did the beating go on? See, that's going to be the gist of the story. What time was the first lick to the body? How many people were in the room and the villa at the time of the assault? How many people watched the assault? What was the purpose of going live? It was to humiliate her naturally, to gloat. We got her. We finally got her. This leads you to believe these people had ill feelings toward the victim long before the trip to Mexico. So whose idea was it to go down there? Why did you invite these said people? Did you think you knew them or not? Can't answer it, of course. But did she see signs before this trip? I do believe somebody had a problem with her. This Dejanay or whoever else. They wanted to get the best of her, humiliate her. That is the reason of going live. The mother gets the video sent to her from a family member. So the video was already going around before the people even left the villa. Why did you all send this? Why did you go live? Well, I think I've answered it already. To humiliate the victim. Show you what we've done to her. Did she see signs before the trip? Why did the people stand around and watch? My message today is know your friends. If you see the signs of any slick talk, slickery, cut them off, don't engage, and definitely don't take trips with people who you've had any type of issues with. Because though many people will not think that somebody would jump them, fight them where they live, obviously there are some people who do. And we have seen many deaths and beat ups and beat downs and people cut, shot from people who they thought were their friends and they were all along jealous of them, or there was some type of rivalry with another man, another woman. It was something and it turned deadly because in the end, you don't know people. And many people can give advice on what they would and would not do in these type of circumstances, but everybody has some type of tale of betrayal. It just didn't end in murder, perhaps. But many women have fought women since the beginning of time because we are petty creatures. We get upset over minute things, or we think someone's trying to, up us one. So we respond or we don't respond. But you don't think that someone would be plotting your death. This Cahill Cook fella, who's supposed to be one of her good male friends, visited the mother for 4 days. But once the autopsy results were released, he stopped coming around, and so did the others. They all have passports, says the mother, but they're not at the address that's listed on the passport. So where are these people? How long do these people think they are going to hide? U.S. Marshals involved? I do hope so. I pray that they're all going to be caught. As you heard this guy in this commentary, he says they will be caught. And Nancy tops it off with saying they are not criminal minds because they are the same people that posted the video. I agree. They are nimwits. Utter nimwits. Let's get a little more information pertaining to this storyline. Hold on one second, you guys. I want to make sure. Bring up everything pertaining to this story. There's a posting that came up 3 days ago on WCNC. It says, yes, the U.S. can prosecute the Shanquella Robinson case, but these conditions must be met first. Let's do a little reading on that pertaining to this storyline. Can the U.S. prosecute the Shanquella Robinson case? Days after authorities in Mexico issued a warrant in the death investigation of Shanquella Robinson, 25-year-old Charlotte woman who mysteriously died while on vacation with a group of what she thought was a group of her friends. Many people are wondering if United States authorities can intervene and prosecute the case. Robinson died late October while in Cabo. Robinson's parents claimed the group told them Shanquella Robinson died from alcohol poisoning, but a video surfaced that apparently showed her being assaulted by someone on the trip. Autopsy later confirmed Robinson died from a broken neck and spinal cord injury. Here's what the Verify team discovered when it comes to investigation of cases involving Americans in other countries. If a crime happened in a different country, can the United States prosecute the case? Yes, it's possible for the U.S. to prosecute a case that happened in another country, but only if it involves American citizens. United States Code of Federal Regulation states, if a person being a national of the United States kills or attempts to kill a national of the United States, while such a national is outside the United States but within the jurisdiction of another country, shall be punished. The statute expressly empowers our federal government to prosecute American citizens that have been involved in the murder of another American, Monty said. By simply looking at the statute, WCNC Charlotte can verify that, yes, it's possible for the U.S. to prosecute even if the crime happened outside of the country, but only if it's a crime involving Americans. However, there are some hoops to jump through. There has to be written approval by the United States Attorney General, and it has to be looked at the approved by the Department of Justice. That's the first hoop. The second, according to Monty, is the U.S. can't prosecute a crime if the same charge has already been adjudicated in the country that has jurisdiction. If the foreign country has already prosecuted someone for the same conduct and the same type of crime, then it would not allow the United States to prosecute the same individual again. However, the U.S. could prosecute for other crimes associated with the main offense. Verify is the source of this information. Well, that's good news. So it's a matter of waiting to see what's going to happen. I'm sure many of you have heard rumors that this Dejanay character was arrested. I haven't found anything in the Google search or on YouTube as a verifiable source, not he said, she said, but a verifiable news source that she's been arrested. But I do believe all need to go down that were in the villa, because at some point you all had knowledge that something was going on in that villa. I'm not going to sit here and believe that somebody sat in another room this day when this event happened and never inquired about the death of the young lady. That is that. Let's see what we can find pertaining to the search of the co-conspirators, because a reporter has been looking for them. WSOC TV9 is the source, uploaded 2 days ago.
Robinson is still slowly getting answers after her mysterious death in Mexico.
The Mexican Attorney General has issued an arrest warrant for an unidentified friend who was on that trip. Today, Channel 9's Joe Bruno traveled across North Carolina to try to track down 4 of the friends who were on that trip. He's live tonight with what happened out there. Joe?
Well, federal and international investigations are still ongoing into the death of Shanquella Robinson, and I'm still trying to get a hold of the people that were on that trip with her. One of the hundreds of cases on the docket in the Gaston County Court Thursday morning belonged to one of the people who went on the trip with Shanquella Robinson. He pleaded guilty to a minor speeding charge, only having to pay $15 plus court fees. Our hope was to talk to him after the case. But he wasn't here. An attorney appeared on his behalf and told me he isn't representing him in the Shanquella Robinson case. Since nearly everyone on the trip with Robinson has changed or disconnected their number, we hit the road trying to get in touch with them in person. No one was present at the first home in Jamestown. But as I rang the doorbell, I noticed a business card taped to the door. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office declined to comment, citing an ongoing investigation. We had no luck in Winston-Salem at a home associated with another person on the trip, and after a 45-minute ride to another home in Greensboro, I was told the person who was on the trip no longer lives there. Because no suspects or people of interest have been identified in this case, we are not naming any of the people that were on the trip with Shanquella Robinson. And as we have been reporting, the state attorney general did issue an arrest warrant for one of the people on the trip. At this time, we have not been able to confirm any arrest has been made, and the state attorney general's office is not identifying that person at this time. Reporting live in North Charlotte, Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, as you hear, this reporter has gone to the addresses of some of these people. No answer. One person says they don't live here. So where are these people? How long do you think you're going to stay underground? Are they in the same state or have they fled North Carolina? Allegedly, some of you are educated, so I'd like to know how many actually graduated from college. Did she consider these people her good friends, or these were friends of one of her friends? This is possible just a bunch of heathens that were friends of one friend. So you have to be very careful about hanging with people in general, especially hanging with your associates, other friends' associates. Because you might like the one that you're with, but you may not care for the other ones. I frankly would have never gone on any trip with another person in the group that I don't like or I think does not like me. We don't vibe well. We don't have much in common. I'm still not taking the trip, whether I like one person or not. I don't rock like that. I don't believe in going on trips anymore with a bunch of people, staying in a hotel, villa, Airbnb with people. I like my privacy, and I realize that sometimes it's best to do your own thing. You hook up with people later, such as each person has their own hotel room, private stay area. We meet up to go out to eat, to a bar, a club, whatever the event is. And then when the event is over, we go our separate way in living domains. That way, if anything ever happens to me, it didn't happen in a closed-up space where people can cover up a death or an accident. Stay woke. But you live and you learn. Unfortunately, she was not able to live and learn from this experience, Miss Shan. And that's the worst part of the story. This Winter character, it is believed that there was a second video that was released where she was taking licks on this girl. I have not seen that video. How many videos were made of Shanquella Robinson? How many people participating in the beat up of her? What time did the first altercation start? Did she ever get up and move on her own? Or the video we see of Dejanay beating her, she never left from that spot. Somebody else came in and tag team after that, yes or no? Will we get to the truth? Probably never. But there has been no arrest. It says here from this news source, they've talked to the Attorney General's office. They have not confirmed an arrest or an identification of the person who the warrant is for. So all those rumors on social media that somebody got arrested, as you see, this is uploaded not even 2 days ago in the YouTube queue, and no arrests. And that rumor was out about an arrest of a female, the alleged Dejanay, a week or so ago. So most of the people who follow my content know I don't report on rumors. If I don't see the person in handcuffs, I don't see a legitimate news source that they were arrested, apprehended, I don't talk about it. This is such a horrible, horrible situation because it just goes to show you don't know people. And as I've said, if you see signs that someone has slick talk, nasty remarks, vile remarks about you, what you're doing, cut them off. It costs you nothing to walk away from people. It costs you nothing to stop talking to them, going where they be. If you feel like where you go and patronize is a problem, just stop going. It's just a short break, couple weeks, a month. If you think there's a possibility that something will jump off the next time you go around some people, stop going. And that's something I've learned with people, women especially. We act like we can't disengage from people. It costs you nothing to disengage from another human being, be it a female or a male. The other disturbing part of the story is that there were men there. So these men are just as ratchet as the females. What type of man would sit here and watch their friend fight another person or let another person fight their friend? And to sit up and quit back, aren't you going to fight back, whatever? What type of friend is that? That's not a friend. So he was with the shit too. And I believe possibly he was the one that was filming. I'm not really sure. But these people obviously had ill will towards her, ill feelings toward her. Because the one thing you don't hear in the first video, somebody rushing in to break it up. That's evidence number one. To hear that somebody allegedly came in, this Elise person, I'm hearing rumors that she came from a back room trying to break it up with her and Dejanay. Well, we know that's bullshit because Dejanay is dead. I mean, Shanquella is dead. So if Elise allegedly came in, tried to break it up or said something to her allegedly, then why do we have a dead woman and why do we have this story? You couldn't have broke it up because Miss Robinson is no longer alive. And if you saw that she wasn't responding when you first went in, allegedly, if I'm to believe this version, you would have got her help. Tried to pick her up, move her, put her in the bed, call 911, walk her to the front desk, something. But you went on with the rest of them to aid this story, cover up her death, and the thought of her lying somewhere for 3 to 4 hours dead is just vile and disgusting to me. So then I asked the viewing audience a week or so ago when I made this video, what were you all doing while she's lying dead if I'm to believe she died 15 minutes after her injury? If I'm to believe the autopsy report, what were you all doing? Please check my library for that upload. What were you all doing while she's lying dead? Slumped over, lying on the floor. What was she doing? Sitting upright still? Died sitting up, dying laying down? The professional that was called, was it an actual doctor? And why didn't the doctor call 911? Why would you listen to some people and you see that the person is allegedly dehydrated? So you said. So you sat there for hours working on a person that we're now supposed to believe was dead. Allegedly had cardiac arrest, but now we learn she died from a spinal injury, which is the truth. What time did this injury happen? How many people participating in beating her up? What happened to her after the final blow? Sitting upright, lying down, what? Was she moved to the bed, the floor, what? How did she get from that room to the living room? Very strange story. Very concocted story, obviously. And the fact that you all stood around like little school children, bullying a grown woman, aiding a bully, participating in hitting her, hurting her, watching, filming, it's all the same. You're all bottom feeders. And what would be sickening if we learned that any of you have children or mothers, fathers. And another sick part is knowing that somebody's aiding you and hiding you out. But I know for the right dollar amount, somebody will give you up if there's ever a reward offered for all of you. And I pray that all of you will be indicted along with Dejanay, because you all need to go down because you cooked up this story down there, brought it back over here to America, spoon-fed this shit to her mother, knowing what happened down there. So you're all guilty. Guilty of knowledge, guilty of association, guilty for participating, guilty for filming, guilty for not rendering aid. But you're guilty. And the professional needs to be souped up on the platter too. Because there's no way outsiders would tell me or anybody how to do my job if I'm a professional and I see that the person is in distress. I would have called 911 and I wouldn't have cared what any of those people in that room had to say. So you're just as guilty too. Because who sits with a person for 3 hours and they're non-respondent? That makes no logical sense. You're pumping on them. CPR compressions. So if I'm to believe that she died 15 minutes after the injury, then that means you were pumping on a dead person and you would have known that. Because if all this started at 2 o'clock or before 2, see, you don't even know what's the truth. You pop up on the scene at 3, then she was dead. You were pumping on a dead woman, allegedly. They stood around a dead woman. They plotted around a dead woman. They tried to come up with a story of a dead woman. So all of you are guilty. And then you come back, play the role until the autopsy release, and then you shoe, disappear. You all will be caught. So I don't know why you're trying to hide. This is America. And there have been many people, yes, to go underground for various crimes. And some of those people have been found because many of you do not know how to stay underground. You see, it takes a certain type of mindset to go underground and do without amenities, social media, phones, all of that. And if you're not accustomed to that type of lifestyle, you will not be able to sustain hiding out in somebody's house. And that's going to get old, and they're going to get tired of aiding you. They've got to feed you. They've got to pay bills at their house. You can't go out and work. You can't use your Social Security number. So how are you going to bring income to someone's house? It's going to get old. It's only a matter of time somebody's going to come to their house and see you there. And they're going to sell you out. And the person there will probably sell you out as soon as somebody says there's reward money. Prayers to the family, the father, who's been very distraught. He's given commentary to the news about his daughter. This is a very disturbing story. But once again, as I said, it's a lesson learned to those who are currently alive that you don't know people, you can't trust people, and you don't know what a person will do to you. So the assumption that a person would not hurt you, harm you, that's a lie. And it's sad that a person would have to learn their true friends and acquaintances by being beat up and then later die. And I can't even imagine what she was going through while sitting there, possibly not feeling anything. If I'm to believe at that point during the video that the spinal cord was ruptured. Did she have any type of feeling in her back or upper body at that point? I do not know. And I don't think we'll ever get the truth. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign McGangie, 129 Cash App, all Super Chat stickers are welcome during my live. Happy holidays to everybody. Please check out Mountain Magic Christmas starring Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson. The Queen has an extra spot in that movie. It aired on NBC Peacock last Thursday. Mountain Magic Christmas. Thank you all so much for the support. Kind words. Happy holidays to everybody. Please be safe. Happy shopping. Be aware of your surroundings when you're out shopping. Do not post things to social media. Please be safe. Thank you, T, for modding the chat. Amen. I will be back here shortly with another live pertaining to the Idaho 4. There's new information coming out, and I'd like to get that information out. I've had no rest for the past 2 weeks doing these stories because every day there's something new to where I can't even catch a moment to myself. Because as quick as I turn the computer off, there is a new update pertaining to these kids. It's become like a miniature circus at this point. I don't know where this case is going, but I'd like an end to it as well because it's becoming a circus now. But prayers to the families of the Idaho 4 student slayings, prayers to their family, the community, the students, the faculty, the staff, the town. These people need our prayers. Thank you so much for the compliment. They need our prayers because we don't know who the killer is. Praying for an answer, praying for an apprehension. And once again, I do not have an opinion pertaining to a suspect or a motive because I don't know the children and nothing has been revealed to me about the kids to give a rendering of who the suspect or motive could be. But what I will bring to you is debunkment of certain theories. But even then, it doesn't matter because I don't know these kids. The next information I'm going to bring to you about the Idaho 4 is very informative. It's about spreading rumors about this case, spreading lies about this case, putting people on blast on social media wannabe sleuths, detectives. How far are you all willing to go for a story? And it is not right to accuse people because it can cause them problems down the road, such as their job, their livelihood. We're going to chop that up here shortly. You all have a wonderful evening. Feel free to come back and join me for the live number 3. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you so much.